Hi guys, it's Neil from Podfit Personal Training, and today I'm going to explain about why you might not be losing weight even though you think that you're eating a really healthy, balanced diet. I'm just going to close that down for a little bit and explain a scenario. So we're going to take two types of person. One is going to be a 20-year-old male who exercises 3 or 4 times a week, has been sporty all their life, and it leads a very active lifestyle. The second one we're going to pick a 40-year-old female who for the last 10 or 15 years has done no exercise, had a couple of kids, and isn't really doing anything to boost their metabolism and increase the rate at which they burn calories. Now, but they're both going to eat the same foods. What they're going to have is they're going to have oats and milk for breakfast, an apple for a snack in the mid-morning. Both are going to eat a sandwich at lunchtime with some fruit. Both are going to eat meat, veg and potatoes for an evening meal. The only difference is the 40-year-old female, let's say for example, has a glass of wine at night to relax and unwind before bed. Now, all of those foods and all of those meals contain either refined or unrefined carbohydrates. So I'm going to give you examples of those: oats, apples, sandwich, bread, potatoes. Other examples: grains, pastas, rice. Lots of fruit, in fact all fruits to a certain extent all contain carbohydrates which get converted by the body into sugar and then transported along the bloodstream to the liver and the muscles so they can be utilised for energy. So insulin really is affected by a couple of things. It's affected by lifestyle, so how much exercise you do, and also how much sugar that you intake. So let's look at the 20-year-old male. So when he has his oats, it produces a relatively small amount of insulin because he's deemed to have good insulin sensitivity or high insulin sensitivity. Whereas the 40-year-old female, when she has her oats, produces an awful lot of insulin. So this is insulin, the red blocks, and you can see that the 20-year-old produces a small amount of insulin compared to the 40-year-old. Now what that means is that it takes longer to leave the bloodstream, and the body cannot burn fat when there is insulin in the bloodstream. It's just impossible. So if you've got low insulin sensitivity or you're insulin resistant, it's going to take a long time every time you eat carbohydrates for the body to process that by taking it through the bloodstream before the body will get rid of all this insulin so it can burn fat. So what we look at, let's give you this practical example. So breakfast, they both have oats. But it only takes a short amount of time before the 20-year-old has got rid of all the insulin, transported the nutrients to the bloodstream, uses them for energy, and then the body then uses fat. It will always use glucose as its primary fuel source because it takes a shorter time to break down than it does fat. But if there's none of these present, it will then burn fat. The thing is with the 40-year-old is she's insulin resistant, so it takes an awful lot of insulin to do the job properly, and that takes longer to leave the bloodstream. So by the time that the 40-year-old female has the apple and again produces more insulin, they had no opportunity to burn fat at all. Whereas the snack to the 20-year-old male produces a really small amount of insulin, and then the body will burn fat mid-morning. Again, the sandwich, so the bread in the sandwich produces a relatively high amount of insulin for the 40-year-old female in comparison to the 20-year-old male, and all afternoon this 40-year-old female isn't burning fat. Maybe a little bit of time before the evening meal she'll burn a bit of fat, but then that evening meal the 40-year-old again has potatoes, and it produces quite a large amount of insulin in comparison to the 20-year-old. And the other thing is that the 40-year-old then has a glass of wine. The body can't burn anything other than alcohol whilst alcohol's present. Then it will burn sugars, and only then in the middle of the night will the 40-year-old female be able to burn a bit of fat. So there's many more opportunities in the day for this 20-year-old to burn fat than there is for the 40-year-old female. So what can you do to affect your insulin sensitivity? To reduce it to smaller amounts so you can burn fat longer. The first thing is you can exercise, and exercise at a really high intensity. And the second thing you can do is you can cut out a lot of these sugars. So let me give you an example of what, if you want to reset your insulin sensitivity, if you cut out refined carbohydrates for a period of time, so bread, rice, pasta, potatoes, wheat, grain, pulses, certain fruits. So you could have eggs for breakfast, nuts for lunch, a salad, and cut out the potato, cut out the wine. And what you've got is, instead of having all of these red arrows, which means there's insulin in the bloodstream. You're going to swap those for all the green arrows, which mean there's a lot of glucagon in the bloodstream, which is going to enable your body to burn fats as its primary fuel source, not sugars. All right? So that's really a relatively short and hopefully simple explanation of why you might not be losing weight, even though with the diet. All right, thanks guys. See you again.